Okay, so quick deformation with displacements. You've already seen me doing it a little bit, but there are two modifiers that I use for this. Basically, if we would create a very simple cube, of course you would go for something like much more complicated. I would use this often for things that are organic, like rocks, or things that like trees and everything, that I just need to give it like a little bit of deformation. So you do need geometry for this bit. So if I just gonna go here, let's go 50 by 50 by 50. So yeah, you do need a little bit of geometry for this. The first one that I've already shown you is the noise modifier. The noise modifier is very generic, but if you set the noise modifier on and you give it a random strength, for example 10 by 10 by 10 centimeters, what you can see is it will start to try and deform it. You can play around with the scale mostly in order to change the deformation. So you can see it's a Berlin noise. A Berlin noise is basically just like a wobbly height map that you can see. So like this, in large scales you can give it like some very quick deformation if it is needed. You can also focus on like one specific area, or one specific axis I should say, or not. But like this you can just very quickly create some interesting looking noise, and you can even animate the noise if you want, although I've never used it, so I'm not going to try and do that. I'm not going to try and do that. So that's the noise modifier. Next to this, if you have a displacement map that you want to preview, you can go for the displacement modifier. So if I go ahead and go for, where are you, displace? Oh, of course it's at the top, because it's D. The displace modifier. The way that this one works is very similar to the noise. The only thing is that you need a height map. So you need a bitmap that is a black and white bitmap. So if you simply click on bitmap over here, and I'm just grabbing like a height map and I just open it up, you can see this height map that I had, that it will be displaying on top of here. So like this here, see? It will now showcase my height map as best as it can. Now this one is planar, that is normal. It often is just like a planar, because it cannot really go in all directions. You can try like spherical, but that often doesn't seem to work very well, because, well, it's a cube. So if you try spherical like this, it will try and like show it on all areas, but honestly, I would just stick with planar for this. And this is very handy for everything if you just want to have some geometry displacement in actual geometry. If you want to do very specific deformation, or if you want to like create a terrain inside of 3ds Max, there's so many ways to use this. But basically that is like the displacement node. And that's pretty much it. So you have displace and you have noise, depending on like how quickly you need something or how specifically you need something. And also the more geometry you have, the more accurate it is.